Thank you for joining us one more time. This is Respect Due for Veterans, a show about the stories of our local veterans, the accomplishments, the struggles, and also relevant news that can be of benefit to them. Today we put together some interesting things for our veterans. We have an interview with Frank Novak. He is a local U.S. Marine veteran and also a weapons expert. We have an interview with Robert Avila. He is with the Imperial County Office for Veterans. He's going to share with us some wonderful benefits that are available to our veterans that they may not know about. Also, we have a clip from Memorial Day celebration activities, and we want to share with you the trailer for the movie Respect Due, which was put together with our local American Legion Post 25 and the Veterans of Foreign Wars Post 9305. So stay with us. We are going to have a good time. Hello, my name is Roy Dorantes, and I'm with Frank Novak, who is a veteran. And we're going to be talking about weapons today in our segment of Respect Due for Veterans. So today's show has a lot of good things. We're going to be also talking to other veterans and looking at other issues, but today we have this exciting stuff. So Frank, tell me a little bit about your military experience.
Well, I started in 1981 in the Marines. I served for 3 active, 10 reserve with the Marines, and then I switched over to the National Guard, and I did over 20 years with them.
I see. And I see that you have quite a bit of collection of weapons. Tell me a little bit about that.
Well, I started collecting the military hardware because some of the younger Marines asked me questions that I was surprised that they didn't know, like, is an M1 carbine the same as an M1 Garand? And growing up around guns, I knew that there was a difference.
Now, but anybody should know that there's a difference between those two weapons, right?
Well, maybe
I
not.
have no
maybe.
clue.
It's I grew up around them, and World War II wasn't that far back, and the stuff was still being used when I was a kid. But nowadays, the younger kids didn't have any guess. Except for video games, they don't see any of the old stuff at all.
So, can you tell me the name of this weapon here and basically what is the mission of it?
Well, it's a M249 SAW or squad automatic weapon. It's a lightweight machine gun. It shoots 5.56 millimeter air cooled. It carries normally about 200 rounds in a little bag underneath it. And it's small enough and light enough that one person can carry it. It doesn't require a team to work it.
I see. And I believe this would be a sniper rifle?
Yes, that's a Remington Model 700 police sniper system in 308. And yeah, that's...
And did you get the opportunity when you were in the service to use these weapons
the SAW occasionally. I was more of a rifle and pistol guy, but I taught machine guns for a while, and machine guns are fun. They're
Now for the sake of the people that are watching the show, can you tell me a little bit of the difference of the mission from this weapon to this weapon? What is the difference in mission?
Well, normally a SAW would be using for suppressive fire to protect people who are moving, or to during an assault when you want to keep people's heads down. But it's light enough that it can be carried by one person and move with the forward troops. Where a heavier machine gun would have to be placed and put on a tripod, it couldn't really be carried and fired easily. So, and then the sniper rifle would be. There's a lot of missions for snipers where you send people out to take out particular targets or targets of opportunity or high value targets, or use them to protect movement. Like if you're going through a city, something that might be threatening troops moving in the open. They would normally take a high position and just as a protective role.
I see. What was it that got you to join the service? Tell me a little bit about that.
Oh, I always liked the service. Growing up, I was always fascinated by everything you saw on TV about the kid shows, Hogan's Heroes, McHale's Navy, and then seeing real soldiers growing up, and then realizing most of my adult family and the friends of our family had all served in World War II and or in Korea. So I was just fascinated that I was surrounded by a generation of people who were there, who it was real for. So it was kind of natural to follow that.
And what year did you join?
I went in 1981.
I see. Okay.
So.
And did you serve only in the States, or were you shipped overseas?
We went overseas 3 times, but we were all support. We didn't really do anything dramatic or very exciting.
And when you were in the service, Frank, do you remember a particular memory, something that stands out, that made an impression on you? What would you say that was?
Well, I don't know. We've been all over the place. That there are so many different things that sites you'll never see if you have a regular 9-to-5 job. That you could wake up on top of a mountain in the snow, or you can be walking across the desert in 29 palms, or you can be falling off the back of a ship in an Amtrak underwater for a few seconds before it pops back up and wondering, is it going to come back up? Wow. Or I was an air delivery man, and I think probably the brightest memory I have of that was my first job was pushing cargo loads off the back of a helicopter. I was strapped into the back of the helicopter, sitting with your legs hanging out in the air. And they'd slide a can down to you, and you'd shove it off the end, and
nice.
It was just a great ride.
Nice. So those are memories that stick out in your mind that you believe made an impression on you. What about the people? What are some of the people that stand out that you have memories, good memories of?
Well, I worked with some people who were not normal. They were just a lot of fun and a little bit crazy. And the military attracts exciting people. So we have a sergeant major here in the valley. He's a command sergeant major. He's a school teacher, and he's an amazing guy. And he went to the sergeant major academy and exceeded all the core standards, which is almost impossible. But he's a local valley resident, principal of the middle school, and an amazing character. He's probably one of the sharpest people I've ever met.
You see, that's one of the things that get me is that we see people walking around us, and sometimes we have no clue as to the history behind that person, the kind of heroic activities or memorable things that they have done for their country. What do you think of the plans that are going on right now to reduce our military power, to cut down on our military strength? What is your opinion about that?
It's normal. If we're not fighting a war, we don't need a big military. We have enough force standing by to handle an emergency, and that's all we really need. If there was an emergency, we'd call people up, either reserves or National Guard, or start training a lot more people. They'd just get the recruiters busy and get more people in. So it's the people who are standing by right now are going to give you the lead time to get more bodies in.
Got it.
And so, historically, after World War II, they cut the military almost to nothing. They reduced it so far that when Korea popped up, they didn't expect it, and they had to pull people out of the reserves. And I think the Marines emptied out all of the recruiters across the country to fill up one division to get over there. So, if we don't need them right away, we don't need to spend the money on it and keep the money going where it ought to be going.
Got it. And that's a good point. Now, only because it's all over the news, we have the situation with ISIS, that militant terrorist group back in the Middle East segment. Do you think that they pose a credible threat to the United States in our interest?
Realistically, not much of a threat, because how much infrastructure could a small group cause? They could cause a lot of trouble. They could even cause a panic. Can they stop the United States? I don't think there's a handful of people anywhere in the world who could really do that. It's a state of mind. We have examples like Israel. and they are surrounded by people who don't like them or don't want them on the planet, but they don't walk around in fear. And they're a pretty good example. Mm-hmm. Are we going to hide from a bunch of people that don't like us or don't agree with our religious beliefs or our policies and politics? I don't think we ought to be hiding from anybody. I think we ought to hold our heads up and continue our lives the way we ought to do it.